It is finally here. Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. We are here to talk about WrestleMania. We've finally reached WrestleMania weekend, and we're going to dive into the card right after this.
Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.
All right, welcome everyone to the channel. Again, it is time for the weekend kickoff stream. A really exciting time to be a wrestling fan, as always, this time of year, of course. But at the moment, we feel like we're in a boom period. I know a lot of people aren't too thrilled about the card itself. They're thinking, is it that exciting? I think, honestly, it's because we've been spoiled in recent years. We've had dream matches. We've had dream scenarios to break down. This time around, I think if you take a step back and you look at the card, you're like, it's actually quite good. But at the moment, I know a lot of people are a little bit kind of so-so about some of the things we're going to see. But there are two nights to break down. There is a kind of a huge card to dive into. So what we're going to do on this stream is break each and every one of the matches down. And we'll talk about the road to WrestleMania, how we got here. We'll talk predictions. And we'll just kind of get ourselves in the mood for the weekend itself. Of course, Aiden is in the house as hello. And Skibbity Rizzler is here as well. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. It's going to be a good weekend. I hope you're here for the rest of the streams. Of course, it's not just this one here, the weekend kickoff show. We're also going to do a watch along for WWE's kickoff later on tonight. So if you're watching live, you know exactly what I mean. It's about 2 hours away at the moment. We're going to do a watch along for that. You're now joining us on the weekend kickoff show, but tomorrow night, on Saturday at least, we'll do the Saturday night build-up show. Of course, we're going to hit you with a Sunday night build-up show and a few instant reaction reviews for WrestleMania as well. We've also got a lot of content coming to you relating to NXT and the Raw after WrestleMania. But hey, that's a long, long way away. At the moment, we're here to talk WrestleMania. Who is in the mood for the biggest event of the year? I'm really excited for it. I hope you are too. I want to know what you're looking forward to. I want to know what match excites you the most and what you think is going to happen at WrestleMania 41. Let's start breaking down the card, and let's of course start with night number one. Saturday night's card is an interesting one. Skibbity's excited. We've got 7 matches on night one, 6 matches I believe on night 2 at time of recording. If you're watching this on Saturday's build-up show, where this will be replayed, we might already have a match for Randy Orton. It's looking like it could be something relating to Nick Aldis. I know there's a lot of rumors going around about Rusev. There's rumors going around about even, Aleister Black. I think Aleister Black's showing up on SmackDown, by the way. We've touched on this in a bit of detail as far as his kind of, what we assume are his return vignettes as well. But there's a lot going on with WWE at the moment, so we're looking forward to it. Aiden says, let's go, Rhea. And Skibbity says, I'm looking forward to Roman, Seth, and CM Punk. Of course, the main event of night one. It is not main event Jey Uso. No. It is the main event of CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns. Should it be main event? Oh, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Aiden says Rhea was robbed in London. Of course, Aiden went to the show in London. Hope you enjoyed yourselves. I appreciate your updates you sent us on the night, mate. I hope it was a good time for you there. We are well and truly not just on the road now. We're in the final turn, let's say, to WrestleMania. Aiden says, I think it is a co-main event. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one because I think they've made the world title. Let's just talk a little bit about that. They've made the world title, in my opinion, feel like the Intercontinental title. Because think about it, Gunther had the IC belt. He was champ for a long, long time. He lost it. Not long after that, he won the world title. And I think the world title has been presented in a way that is very much aligned with a secondary title, especially when they hype up the main title so much because of Cody Rhodes and the storyline they got going on with John Cena, which of course we'll jump into as well. But yeah, for me, I think they've kind of downplayed this title, which is a bit of a shame. Skibbity says, I'm also looking forward to Jey versus Gunther. I think it'll be a good match. I think it'll be a great moment. I do think, I put my cards out there straight away. I think Jey Uso is going to win. I think he should win. But will he hold the title for long? Probably not. Because again, I do feel like they've turned this into a kind of mid-card title essentially, which is a shame. But hey, look, we'll dive into that. We'll dive into everything else on the card. Let's go back to the very beginning though. Let's talk about the 2 nights overall. Do you think it's a good card overall, guys? I got to admit, I mean, there's, like I say, 13 matches announced at the moment. I'm looking forward to them. There are matches that I think could have been better. There are matches that I'm skeptical about as far as delivery, but there are a lot of matches on the card that I think, even if the build weren't good, I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do in the ring. And there are also matches that I think the build has been better than I expected. Stack says, yo, confirm this for me, please. Mania is happening in 4 hours. No, it's not today, Stacks. Don't worry. Well, unless you're watching this on the replay on Saturday night. No, we are a few hours away from the watch along that we'll be doing for the kickoff show. Vince McMahon's in the house, apparently. CM Punk will be a Paul Heyman guy again. I think, look, and I said it in my predictions. If you haven't seen it already, guys, go back and watch it. We did our predictions from earlier on this week. I think Paul Heyman is turning on both of them. I think he's going to be Seth Rollins' kind of manager going forward, essentially. But we'll break that down a little bit further on the build-up show on Saturday night. Let's get to a few more of these comments here as well. Stella says, I'm looking forward to the match of Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. Like, it's not a match that I've been like super excited for at the start. And again, I said this on my predictions. Again, if you haven't seen it already, guys, give it a little watch if you get some time. Our Saturday predictions are out there for you to check out. But I was saying on that, look, I think Drew McIntyre, or is it Sunday there? Either way, I was saying, look, I think they made this match and people didn't want it straight away. The Royal Rumble obviously set it up. There were a lot of rumors going around about Drew at the time and kind of apparently that he was upset with it. I was upset. I didn't want to see Drew McIntyre face Damian Priest at WrestleMania, but that sounds like I don't rate Damian. I do. I think Damian's great, but it's not what I wanted for Drew, and it's not really what I wanted for Damian either. He's had a bit of a strange year. I think the best thing he's done since leaving the Judgment Day was that little mini feud he had with Finn Balor, where he went mad and he grabbed him through the ropes and his eyes popped. I loved that. Like, that visual was amazing. I thought he was going to kind of build from there. Not much has happened, let's be honest, since that. So yeah, a little bit of a shame there. But as I say, we've got our Saturday predictions out there. If you haven't seen them already, give them a little watch. And also our Sunday predictions went live a little while ago as well. But you're here for the Weekend Kickoff show. And we're going to have a watch along of WWE's Kickoff show in a few hours' time. Right, let's break down the card a little bit further. Stack says, honestly, not a fan of most of the women's matches, but Charlotte and Tiffany, I'm hoping they go berserk. It feels like that way, doesn't it? I mean, they are building it like it's a kind of work shoot. I don't know. Again, I said it on the predictions the other day. I'm not sure I buy it. I'm not sure I buy this kind of shoot thing they're building. I don't know. I think it's fake. I got to be honest. But hey, it's built intrigue, and that's what you want, right? Aiden says Drew should be world champion. Yeah, I agree with you there, mate. I think if he was world champion, as much as I'm looking forward to Gunther versus Jey Uso, I think the title match might mean a little bit more on this PLE. But hey, we'll get there someday, I'm sure, once again, with Drew McIntyre. Let's break down the cards. Let's start, as I say, with Saturday night. And we've got Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair. And again, it was just mentioned there in the comments. One to look forward to. Sax is excited about this, and I'm looking forward to it as well. But I'm not sure what we're going to get. I mean, it's a match that I felt was obvious before the Rumble, before Charlotte even came back. They've played into this kind of, what do you call it? This kind of like shoot aspect to it. Again, I'm not sure I buy it, but this feels like the natural thing to do. Like for me, Tiffany facing Charlotte makes a lot of sense, and Tiffany beating Charlotte makes a lot of sense. If Charlotte wins this match, I'll be dumbfounded. I really don't understand what they're doing. If I won't understand what they're doing if they let Charlotte win, because, and it's not a kind of hating on Charlotte thing. I like Charlotte. I think she's great, but we can't pretend she hasn't been given too many major kind of feature spots. I guess ratio wise for what she might, I guess, deserve, if you put it that way. I mean, she's great. She is great. I enjoy her, but I think they need to be careful with the sensitivity that fans have about the spots that Charlotte goes in. And every time you bring her back and she wins another belt, it's kind of like, chipping away at that kind of goodwill that fans have about Charlotte. So I'm hoping it's not the case this time around. I think if any time it shouldn't happen, it is this time round, because I think Tiffany is on a roll. She's not, we got to be honest with ourselves, as much as like Tiffany, she's not on Charlotte's level at the moment. But this is the kind of thing that puts you on the trajectory towards being on that level. So I think she needs to win, and I'm hopeful. I am hopeful. But this whole kind of work shoot aspect, or just shoot, whatever you want to call it, if that is legit, I guess, then we could see something really messy at WrestleMania. But in my opinion, Tiffany Stratton should win, and Tiffany Stratton will win. Aiden agrees me, says Tiffany winning as well, and says Becky isn't coming back soon. I don't know, maybe, WrestleMania is a time where, or Raw after WrestleMania, because we'll be covering that in depth on this channel as well, it's a time where a lot of things happen, and a lot of returns do take place. Stack says Charlotte has that thing about her where it always feels like she like there's some jealousy there with most other women, and she seems to have legit dislike for Tiff. It does seem like she's not a fan, doesn't it? Her saying like I can't remember what she said, but like basically hinting like Tiffany's like a budget or a newer version of her, basically. But like that is the natural way we do feel. They are different characters, but there is that similarity. It's not just because they're blonde. There is more to it. They are similar characters in some way. So I do feel like it's a match that makes a lot of sense, and I do feel like it's a match that Tiffany should be winning. There is nothing to gain for Charlotte until she breaks her dad's record, or Cena breaks it this weekend. There's not really anything else for her to do other than take a step back and just have meaningful programs in a different way. It doesn't have to be about the title. And every time she gets thrown back into the title picture, people get annoyed about it. This time, I'm not annoyed, because I think we're getting something good out of it. I think it's all about pushing Tiffany. But if it's not, then, well, like I say, what is the point? Let's move on to the next one. El Grande Americano versus Rey Mysterio. Now, if you saw my predictions from earlier on this week, you'll know my pick is no, you said it wrong there. Is Rey Mysterio. I think El Grande Americano has been great, but I don't see him coming away with the victory, because I think they're going to have to get a kind of what do you call it, like a payback essentially for El Grande after El Grande, like it's his real name, after taking Dragon Lee's mask, which was very shocking the way he did it, by the way. It was really cool. Aiden says, she doesn't deserve it. She doesn't need it. If she won the title, genuinely, it will. I think we're away from that. I think WWE moved away from that, but you can never be too sure. All right, go back to the Luchador match though. Rey Mysterio, I think, is going to win this one. I think El Grande Americano is going to be unmasked. I think it will be revealed, obviously, as Chad Gable. And I think they're going to have a great match. I think Chad has been amazing on Raw recently. I think he's had some really, really fun matches. And it's weird because I want him to be featured on WrestleMania as himself. But, like, I don't want to be like, this is the only way he can get on. But maybe that is the case. Either way, he is on it, and I'm happy for him. I think he's a great talent, and I think he makes everything work. I mean, this whole this version of Chad goes all the way back to the start of American, not American Made, but American Alpha. No, American Alpha is him and Jason Jordan. It was was it American Alpha? Anyway, you know what I'm talking about, with Otis and stuff like that. He was great with them. And they're kind of doing their own thing now as well. And he's now got a new stable. Hit and miss, I think, the way that's been built. But at the same time, what he's done, I think, has been incredible. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this match. I think Rey and Gable will have a good little kind of bit of chemistry together as well. Look, Rey doesn't need to win, but I think he will win just because, I mean, you know, Chad's the bad guy, and I think he's going to be unmasked, essentially. Aiden says, this should have been an unmasking match. Yeah, I thought the same thing, man. Like, when I was doing my predictions the other day, I was thinking, why is this not a mask versus mask? But I think maybe because it would be too obvious. And I think maybe to put Rey in a mask versus mask match, or mask versus career, which is, maybe the way he's going to go out. Let's be honest. Something like him and Dom would be a great way to kind of end things in a mask versus career or something like that. Yeah, maybe it takes away from that. So maybe that's why they haven't done it. But they've never really played with Rey since WCW and, taking off his mask. They've been really careful not to do anything like that. Stack says, I'd live if I would love if El Grande wins this, stands over Rey and takes his mask off, almost as if to rub it into Rey's wounds. Rey is like a WrestleMania darling. Can't see Rey losing, but would like to see. Yeah, I'm in agreement, man. I think there's so many things on this card that depend on heels winning. In my predictions, at least, I think they need to have baby faces win here and there, and this is an easy way to do it. It's not I think that matters too much. I think Chad winning would be cool, but him losing is not a massive deal either. So yeah, I agree with you there, and I think Rey probably will win. But yeah, it would be it'd be quite funny. The visual, like you say, is El Grande Americano stand over at Rey Mysterio and just kind of taking his mask off as well. But that's our luchador match. Let's move on to the United States Championship match. We've got LA Knight defending the title against Jacob Fatu. Now, this is a match that I think, for the most part, is somewhat easy to predict. My predictions the other day, I know Dan said the same thing, kind of straightforward with it. Just feels like a Jacob Fatu win, because they are building Jacob Fatu into, this kind of big part of SmackDown. The intriguing thing, I think, is Solo and the Bloodline. Whether or not that plays a part here on WrestleMania, I'm not sure. It's strange, isn't it? Because you think about LA Knight, a few years ago, we all wanted him on WrestleMania, and then he won or he was part of or is it just Lashley? It was something to do with him and Lashley with the WrestleMania SmackDown, and what do they call it? The Andre Battle, which I don't think they're even doing this year, are they? They did nothing with it, and it felt like they missed a big opportunity there. Then the next year, he was actually massively over. They were actually using him every now and then. Didn't do anything with him. And then this year, it's like, yeah, well, if you look at it, like, if you told me in those years, oh, LA Knight's going to be on the card and he's going to be US champ, I'd be thinking, oh, that's pretty good. That's progress. But like, the US title run for LA Knight has been really weird. Like, he won it. It felt amazing. It felt like a crowning moment for him. Then the Nakamura thing, and I was like, well, it's got to mean something. It didn't. I like the reinvention of Nakamura, but I mean, where is he? What's he doing now? They're not using him. LA Knight won it back. Jacob Fatu gets into the storyline, and you'd think this is the natural progression for him. But at the same time, not really where you want to see LA Knight. And I wonder what he feels about it, essentially, because again, he's on the WrestleMania card. He is defending the title. He's a champion at the moment in a pretty kind of, I guess, like, not headline, but a kind of important match at the same time, because Jacob clearly is being used quite well. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? What are your thoughts on LA Knight and his kind of trajectory in WWE at the moment? Do you think, is this the ceiling? Is he, if he loses, is he moving on to something bigger and better? I don't know. I think they've used him for, if I'm honest, I think they've got what they want out of him, which is a shame, because I do think there's a lot more you could do. But we'll see. I do want more for him. And seeing him go into WrestleMania with a title on his shoulder sounds weird to say, oh, he has to have more. But you know, the whole thing about LA Knight is, you know, his age and stuff like that. So you'd expect them to capitalize as quickly as possible. So is this the ceiling for LA Knight? I don't know. Again, let me know what you're thinking about this and what you're thinking about Jake and Fatu. Is he going to win the US title? I think it's pretty straightforward. Now, here we go. The New Day taking on the War Raiders on night 1 of WrestleMania. Who's excited? Put your hands up. Yeah, no one. Look, I feel harsh saying that because I love the New Day, which is why I think this is for a reason. Like, it's got to be for a reason, because this match, like, the New Day said, we want a title match. And then, you know, the higher up said, oh, you can't just demand it. And now they've got it. And the War Raiders were like, yeah, we're champs. We'll defend them. Like, so? Like, so what? Compared to what's going on SmackDown, right? The Motor City Machine Guns, DIY, Street Profits, Yes Boy, what do you call them? Who else you got? Legado del Fantasma. Like, there's so much going on SmackDown as far as the tag division. I genuinely thought we were going to get like a 4, and then I was like, oh, a 5, oh, a 6-way tag team match. Is it? What is it? A ladder match, or is it a, you know, what stipulation they're going with? No. Like, it's not on WrestleMania, and they're only featuring like 2 of them on SmackDown. So, like, what a real disappointment. And instead, we're getting Monday Night Raw's titles being defended, the titles that have barely been on TV. Yeah. And I said this a few weeks back when we covered the European tour in depth. We were, you know, fortunate enough to be able to be watching at a reasonable time here in the UK. We don't get that often with Raw and SmackDown, so we don't often get to do watch-alongs or anything like that. But we did it for a good few weeks because of the European shows. And I was saying on those streams, look, it doesn't really make sense, like I say, with the SmackDown situation, but it also doesn't really make sense from Monday Night Raw. They didn't build anything with these guys until very recently, which makes me think something is going on. And I do think it's relating to Big E. Look, I don't want to go too deep into some of the predictions I've already made, because of course I want you to go watch that video as well. But on our Saturday prediction stream, you'll see that my opinion is that Big E might get involved, but not in a way that people expect. I don't know if he's going to be helping the War Raiders, and I'll kind of leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. Let's move on to the next one. Again, a match that maybe should be the main event, but definitely isn't the main event. It's main event Jey Uso versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. I think this is one of the easiest matches to predict. And if it's not, if it's the reverse of what I'm about to say, then it will be something that really annoys me. And I think Jey Uso is going to win the title, and I think he should win the title. And that's not to say I'm not a fan of Gunther. That's not to say I don't think Gunther should be the world champ. But why do you give Jey Uso the Royal Rumble win? And why do you give him a feud that he's already been in if he's not going to win the title? It just doesn't make sense. I feel like Saturday night's main event was a test. They liked what they saw, and they thought, there we go. We'll do that again on a bigger stage, WrestleMania, and he'll win it. That's what I think is happening with Jey Uso. And I think he should. I think he deserves it. I know a lot of people are starting to sour when it comes to his entrance and the whole Yeet situation. But, I mean, I've got to be honest. Look, if it ain't for you, it ain't for you, right? Just enjoy it. You know, be honest with yourselves. Like, this is a guy that was in a tag team where most people couldn't tell who was who, right? They did amazingly within the bloodline, and he was a star in that whole bloodline thing. Yeah, you can argue that some of the same issues that are cropping up now with some of his promo work were also issues when he was in the bloodline. He cracked maybe a few too many times. We loved it, right? But he laughed a little bit on serious promos and stuff like that. But we liked it. We got to be honest. And I think all those things led to him breaking away and becoming a star on his own. But even before that, even when Roman first turned heel, you know, and he was going against Roman, I think he did very well on his own. So I honestly believe that he deserves to win. Yeah, it's tough to say a world title, but I think he does deserve it. You know why I stumble? Because I think Sami Zayn's in that same boat, and I think Sami Zayn deserves it more, and he didn't get it. So that's why it's tough. But you can't think about other people in these scenarios, right? For Jey Uso, does Jey Uso deserve it? In my opinion, yeah, he does. And I think beating someone like Gunther is such a statement. The issue I've got is that this title feels like the Intercontinental Championship. You know, Gunther was the IC champ for so long. He lost it. Not long after that, won the world title. And now, like, they have massively, massively degraded this title. Let's be honest. It was a rocky start for it anyway, right? They brought it in, and there was already this perception of, like, we're creating this because we're not letting anyone beat Roman. So you're not really the world champ, right? So there was that. Then they weren't sure about his lineage. You know, they gave it a similar design to the old World Heavyweight Championship. And then they were also like, this is the brand new title. They didn't know what they wanted. Then they brought all these kind of wrestlers that had either won titles once or twice, or hadn't held for long, or maybe been seen as held back, or never won the title. And they didn't give him, you know, Seth held onto it for way too long. In my opinion, Balor should have won it. Nakamura should have won it. It didn't happen. Seth Rollins loses it. Because last year, then it gets hot shotted around because of the Money in the Bank. But I think the storyline was bigger and it made sense, and that's okay. But then, you know, Damian Priest is his first world championship. You know, there are so many risky moves with this world title. Then you give it to Gunther. You know, it feels like a star, the way they built it over the past few years. Yeah. But then he hasn't defended it a lot. And now Jey Uso. And the furthest he's reached so far is mid-card status. So is it really the crowning that would have been 15, 20 years ago when you had both belts back then? Look, don't get me wrong. There was always a perception of one title means more than the other. And sometimes it was the World Heavyweight Championship, and sometimes it was the WWE Championship. But you always had a sense that one meant more than the other. And sometimes the gap was bigger and bigger and bigger. And then you'd get things like, you know, 3 matches from the top, the double main event on WrestleMania. Yeah, right. The opening match on WrestleMania. Now you got a 2-night WrestleMania, and you think, well, the least you can do is make it the main event of night 1. No. And is that because of the women's revolution? Is that because of the great kind of women's world titles we need to push as well? Nope, they're not going to show either. It's a non-title match between Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk, which we'll touch on in a bit. But I think, you know, it just creates this perception that the world title doesn't mean that much. And I think it's kind of ironic when you put someone like CM Punk in that spot, when he is someone that got shafted so many times with the world title, or in like the bigger match. And now he's in that position himself. So it's a bit of a shame. But again, I kind of understand it, but it just doesn't help the look of the world title. Right, let's get into some of these comments here. Stack says, I hope we get a decent match here. I've dreaded feeling that it could be a squash, like we're seeing with Daniel Bryan a few years ago. Oh, could you imagine? What was it, 18 seconds or whatever it was? I'm not a Jey fan, but I wish he'd done more than 20. Yeah, I gotta admit, he does do a lot of super kicks. Stacks also says, yeah, I feel this match is on first, and I just hope it's not Jey squashing. I don't want that either. Let me be clear. I want Jey to win, but if he squashed Gunther, it'd be terrible. That's not what we should see. It should be him clawing his way. Look, there's a possibility. There is a possibility that Jimmy Uso turns on Jey. I don't want to see it. But in any other scenario, I'd go, oh, that's a big story to tell. But because the last feud between the two of them didn't go that well, I mean, it was this time last year, wasn't it? WrestleMania. It didn't go as well as people had hoped. And I think Jimmy is like, he's worked so hard to kind of, because of the kind of, you know, position he's in with clinging on to the yeet and wearing new clothes now. And he's more the grown-up version of what Jey Uso is, I feel. I feel that they both, you know, if you think about their character as the Usos, they've gone in separate directions, but like the PG version and the adult version, And I understand both sides of it, but I think Jimmy's done a good job at kind of building himself up. So to kind of throw that away by turning heel, I think would be a mistake essentially. What else do we have? Yeah, so Stack says, I feel this match is on first, and I hope it's not Jay squashing Gunther. I don't think it will, but yeah, maybe Jimmy will come out and I mean, I love the way they've done this for you, by the way. I love the fact that it's turned personal. I love the fact that Jay won't wear colors. Like, he's just wearing black. He's not wearing any merch or anything like that, which is a lot, right? They didn't risk that with Cena. When he joined the Nexus, they wouldn't even let him wear a Nexus shirt because they wanted to sell so much merch. And I think this is why they push Jay so much, because he sells so much merch, because the entrance is fun and whatever else. So for them to do that is, I think, a big statement. So yeah, interesting. Christopher Leclerc is in the house. Is looking forward to NXT Stand and Deliver and WrestleMania 41. Me too, mate. We're going to be covering it in depth on this channel, not just WWE WrestleMania. We will also be covering NXT Stand and Deliver. We'll do a watch along for that as well. So if you want to have a little bit of a companion piece for NXT Stand and Deliver, then you know where to come here at the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. We'll also hit you with an instant reaction review after that as well, which we'll also do for night 1 and night 2 of WrestleMania. We're going to be covering both nights in depth, of course, with our build-up show on night 1 and night 2. If you're new here, by the way, guys, what we do is on the night of a PLE, we get you hyped up and in the mood for that PLE. We'll break down last-minute rumors. We'll talk about the go-home shows and things like that as well. But at the moment, you're on a weekend kickoff show, and we appreciate you. And I want to know what you think is going to happen this week, what you're most looking forward to as well. We'll also cover the Slammy Awards, so stay tuned for that, and I'll give my thoughts on each and every one of those categories. Let's go back to WrestleMania night 1, though. We've also got Jade Cargill versus Naomi. Now, this is the match, of course, that has been building for quite some time, revealed a little while ago now. Naomi, of course, was who took out Jade Cargill, and we saw that amazing reveal at Elimination Chamber. I think Jade looked amazing. Her presentation was so good, and I think Naomi's presentation has been great as well. She's kind of got new gear, she's got new attitude. Her promo's been amazing. That thing a few weeks back where she was crying and stuff like that, it was like, wow, man, like she's really dedicated to this kind of new version of her character, and I've really enjoyed it. So it's a shame to say I don't think she's going to win, but at the same time, I do think Jade Cargill should be winning. And look, I've been saying this for so many months now. If you're new here, let me break it down for you. But if you've been here for a while, you know exactly what's happening next. Look, I think Bianca Belair is involved with this Jade Cargill situation still. And I think she's been taken away from it to distract us. And eventually she's going to get back involved, because it can't just be Naomi. I think what they've done between the two of them is great. I was very surprised that it wasn't wrapped up and decided before this, and that Bianca, isn't facing Jade at WrestleMania, but I think it's coming at SummerSlam, essentially. Whether or not Bianca's got a title on her shoulder going into that, we'll have to see. But that's for our Sunday predictions. We'll get to that in a little bit. But for this one, I do think Jade Cargill is going to win the match. And, it's pretty deserved. I think it's, potentially a crowning moment for her. And while, again, I do think that Naomi has done very well, especially since her return to the company, I think it's all about making that star of Jade Cargill. So, yeah, I think Jade's going to win this one. Let me know in the comments, guys, what do you think is going to happen at WrestleMania? Again, we're breaking down the card here on the weekend preview, but I'd love to know your thoughts on each and every one of these matches as well. Let's get into the main event of night 1. Saturday will close with Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns versus CM Punk in a triple threat match. Finally, CM Punk gets that WrestleMania main event. Sort of. If you want to call night 1's main event the main event, go ahead. Especially if it doesn't have a title. And this is my real kind of issue with this. But look, I'm going to sound like a hypocrite, because I know plenty of times before on this very channel I've come on streams and said, oh, that doesn't need the title, that doesn't need, but then it also doesn't need the main event spot. Now, I know the main event spot is part of the storyline when it comes to CM Punk, but I don't think CM Punk should be Well, I don't think this match should be the main event. I think it should be Gunther versus Jey Uso. Now, it depends on what they're going to do storyline wise, and I do think that's potentially why it's in this position, because I think something big is going to happen at the end of the match. And for me, that is, and I think most people are coming along to this way of thinking, is Paul Heyman's going to turn, right? He's going to turn on both CM Punk and Seth Rollins, and he's going to help. Oh, there we go. CM Punk and Roman Reigns is going to help Seth Rollins. I was going to say win the title, but again, it's not for a title, and that's what's frustrating about it. Being in the main event. But I think Paul Heyman's going to turn. He's going to turn into, the dastardly evil Paul Heyman once again. And Seth is going to be an out-and-out heel. I think he's been, just like Bianca Belair, kind of healing it up recently, leaning towards that. My only concern is that recently it feels kind of obvious, maybe too obvious that that's the case, because I felt like that was the case a few weeks ago. And I started saying it, and then not many people were saying the same, and then now, I think it's so obvious. Everybody thinks that. I'm not trying to say I'm so clever, Nostradamus and all that, but yeah, the fact that everybody is kind of caught on to that, and I think because WWE started presenting it in that way, starts to make me think, oh, maybe it's not going to happen. But then other than that, I don't know what else they do. I don't know why they do this match. There needs to be some sort of big shenanigans at the end of the match, in my opinion, and the only way to do that is for Paul Heyman to turn and kind of align himself with Seth Rollins. So yeah, let me know what you think, guys. Why is this in the main event? Is it simply to give CM Punk that spot? I don't think it is. I think that's more about a storyline thing than it is, actually to give him that spot. So yeah, in my opinion, this match is all about Paul Heyman. I think that's the way they built it in the past few weeks, and that's the way it's going to go down. All right, so that's WrestleMania Saturday for you. Let's break into WrestleMania Sunday. There's some great matches to touch on here as well. Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor, Penta, and Bron Breakker for the IC title. Now, the IC title is one of those on WrestleMania where you expect to see kind of a ladder match or something like that, or the tag titles. Again, SmackDown would have been a great way to do this. They haven't done that. It's just going to be a Fatal 4-Way match. But I do think it's going to be a Fatal 4-Way match that has stories coming out of it. Now, my prediction, again, I don't want to prevent you from watching it. I do think you should go back and check it out. Our WrestleMania predictions show for Saturday, I should say, and for Sunday as well. Dive into this a little bit further. But I think Dominic Mysterio is going to win the IC title, and I think he should win the IC title. A few weeks ago, I would have said Penta, but at the moment, yeah, I think it's Dominic Mysterio because it's relating to the Judgment Day, in my opinion, and I don't think Finn's going to do it. Finn should be, if Finn was in a title match and winning at WrestleMania, it's got to be a world title for me. He doesn't need to win the IC title. Bron Breakker, he's had a good run. Then you've got Penta, who I genuinely thought might win it a few weeks ago on Raw. Didn't happen. So it's got, the story is the Judgment Day, right? So in my opinion, yeah, Dominic Mysterio should win the IC title. Will he win it, though? Maybe. Now, Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest. Now, just touching on the comments we had from earlier on, Aiden thinks that Drew should be the world champion. And yeah, look, I agree. I think Drew has been amazing this past year. I think he's had so much going on for him. And he's ended up in a match that just kind of isn't really fitting of the year he's been on, or the 2 years he's been on. Seth Smith, though, is looking forward to it. As I say, this is a match that many people kind of groaned when they first heard about. But I got to be honest, the build has been great. That choke slam onto the car a few weeks back in London, amazing. Things like that really help build a feud. This is going to be a Sin City Street fight, so I do think they're going to go quite extreme with it. Now, as far as the winner goes, look, it's a tough one because in some ways I think Damian needs it because I think Drew is better off. I think Drew is more over. He's a better character. He's kind of had a better year. Damian, I think, is getting a little bit lost in the shuffle. So for him to win, it would be good. But only if he's doing something next. Whereas Drew has been amazing, right? Not Damian ain't been good, but Drew's been amazing. And like he kind of also needs to win to solidify what he's been doing, you know, like as a heel, I think to be justified at WrestleMania. I mean, last year he was the butt of the jokes and it was all fun and whatever else, but like he needs to do a little bit more, right? So, in my opinion, Drew McIntyre is going to win. I think he should win. I think he probably will win. But yeah, overall, I'm looking forward to the match, and I do think it's going to be a good one. I do think they're going to go quite hardcore with it. It'd be interesting to see where they kind of place this on the night as well. You know, how much they'll be willing to do. A lot of their kind of hardcore and no DQ matches have gone kind of further than expected recently. They've gone into the crowd and stuff like that. So, yeah, again, it'd be interesting to see what they do, especially with the setup at WrestleMania itself. Speaking of Damian Priest, though, we've had the opportunity to interview Damian on this very channel. So if you haven't already, check that out on this very channel. And what do you know? We've also had a great conversation with Mr. Drew McIntyre. So again, subscribe, check out our content, dive into the archives, and you're seeing interviews with the likes of Drew and Damian on this channel. Stack says, I hope we get a decent match here. I have a dreaded feeling it could be a squash, like we've seen with Daniel Bryan a few years ago. Oh, sorry, that was mine earlier. I've jumped up. Yep, sorry about that. Stack says, Strays to put the freeway as the main event, literally because of who's in it. Yeah, they're all big stars, we've got to be honest, as opposed to what's on the line. Like, why is Paul Heyman... why is the corner Paul Heyman is in seems more important than the world title? That's a good point. That's a good point, yeah. Why? Because the world title is not the world title, is it? It's a mid-card title. That's the way they say it. It's got to be. It's got to be the way they say it. It's it's a shame. Christopher says, I've got Damian Priest for this one, and the wise man Carl Whitaker is in the house as well. Thanks for joining us, Carl. Hope you're enjoying the stream. Hope you're looking forward to WrestleMania. Let me know what you think is going to happen at the grandest stage of them all. A night of... 2 nights of kind of excitement coming up, of course, with WrestleMania Saturday and Sunday. It's so weird that, again, the whole 2-night thing, it's something we're still getting used to now. And I was talking earlier on with some friends, and I was saying, like, night 1 sometimes feels it's not as important because it leads to night 2 and the real main events on night 2. But at the same time, there's been a few times where night 1 has been the better show. So it'd be interesting to see what ends up being the better show out of the two of them this time around as well. Of course, last year, I think they did it really well. Night 1 leading into night 2 with a main event. I don't think you should do that all the time, but because, you know, it leaves the kind of uncertainty around the main event on night 2. But I think it did work out quite well last year. Hey, surely we're going to see The Rock come back as well. Wise man Carl Whitaker says, I think Seth leaves with Paul Heyman. I agree with you, mate. I really do think that's where we're going with this one here. Again, it feels maybe too obvious now because they've kind of hinted to, like, I mean, Seth literally says, you owe me a favor. Surely that's not... Anyone can get a favor. Just go to punch for Paul Heyman. Don't do it and go, you owe me a favor. You're now my manager. Like, that's how it works. You know, just moves on from there to there to there. There you go. That's how you get a new manager for Paul Heyman. You know, but I don't know. We'll see. If they don't do it, then what else do they do? How does WrestleMania Night 1 close without a big shock and turn? Unless, like, Dean Ambrose came back because of this Shield kind of mix, which is not going to happen. I don't know what else they could do. So, yeah, it's got to be something like that. Right, let's move it on further to some more of the matches taking place on night 2 of WrestleMania. We've got Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan, the women's tag champs, facing Lyra Valkyria and Bayley. Again, I don't want to take you too far away from the prediction streams videos we've already done. Go and check those out on this very channel. But I'm not happy about this match. I'm disappointed when you have a singles champion going for a tag title. Like, just separate them. Like, and there's a 3-hour pre-show for both night 1 and night 2 with no matches, as far as we know. Just put those titles on it. Just put the SmackDown tag titles on it. Just, what are you doing? Yeah. Frustrating. Christopher Leclerc says, whoever wins the women's tag team match on Sunday will face the winner of the women's tag team fatal 4-way on NXT. on Tuesday. Yeah, we'll be covering NXT in depth as well. But even that, like Bailey had a thing with what's her name now? Roxanne Perez. And like there was a time where we're like, oh, maybe that'll be a WrestleMania match. And if not, it'll be on NXT. No, Bailey's in a random tag match. Stack says, all I can think of is something big has to happen with Paul Heyman. Don't know what, but it can't be just Heyman. Stood in the corner looking shocked with a very near fall. Something has to happen. Yeah, I agree with you, mate. I think Heyman's demeanor is something that's going to change as well. Again, I mentioned this on our original predictions, but I think he's going to turn into, like that cocky Paul Heyman with his eyes just kind of, I think we're going to see something, incredible from Paul Heyman as far as acting wise. But again, I don't want to see him for 30 minutes go, oh, like, as good as he is, I don't want to see that. Jay leaves for the world title, says Kyle. Yeah, I think that's the same. Yeah, that's the same for me. Also says Mammy wins the title. We'll get to that one in a little bit. The role model wins another tag title. I don't think so. I think Liv and Raquel win this one. I think this is just to simply get specifically Liv on WrestleMania, because I think she's had such a good year that you can't not put her on WrestleMania. Does the team of the two of them deserve to be on it without a major feud? No. Do the titles deserve to be on it without a major feud? No. Does Lyra and Bailey need to be a tag team? No. Unless there's going to be a turn, which I know a lot of people are expecting. I just don't know why they've got this match on the card. I want all the championships on the card, don't get me wrong, but I want the titles to be presented in a way that matters. I want the feuds to mean something. So, I don't like an IC champion going into a tag title match. It's not ideal. Sometimes you kind of have to, the way the story goes, but for me, I'm not really a fan of it. So yeah. Stack says women's tag title is just a waste of slot. It's the off to a I know. And it's such a shame as well, because the women's matches have historically been seen that way, right? And that's because back in the day, the quality of the women's matches weren't as good, and there are so many reasons for that. They didn't get the time, they didn't get the help or support. Now it's very different. So whenever I think I feel particularly sensitive to women's matches being put in these positions these days, because of where they've been and what they've come from. So it is frustrating. You don't want to admit it. Like, it feels like a dirty thing to say. Oh, it's just a off to the toilet break. But yeah, look, I mean, I'll be honest, like, when it comes to WrestleMania, if I need to go to the toilet, if I need to make a snack or something like that, it will be in this match. And I hate saying that, because I like everyone in the match. I like the fact that they've got a women's IC title. I like the women's tag titles, but it's a bad combination. Christopher says Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade to win an NXT Stand and Deliver on Saturday kickoff show, and also says I've got Bailey and Lyra Valkyria win. I don't see the need to give it to Bailey and Lyra. I really don't. Like, where do they go next? Like, I just think it's to get Liv on the show, because Liv's been amazing. I think she's been so impressive that she deserves to be on the show. And I like them as a team as well. Raquel and Liv, I think, are quite a cool team, but I mean, the division's rubbish. There's nothing going on. AJ Styles, Logan Paul. Now, this is one that I know a lot of people don't really want to predict, because, Logan Paul is a divisive character. But I think it's going to be great. I think this could be match of the weekend. As far as, like, excitement within the match, I'm not talking character, storyline, or anything like that. I think this could be match of the weekend. And again, I said it in my original predictions, if Logan Paul has been watching early TNA AJ Styles, check our Sunday predictions out, by the way, guys, then we could be in for something quite special here, because Logan Paul kind of moves like classic AJ Styles. So I'm looking forward to it. I really do think this could be, again, not just match of the night, match of the weekend. And I know some people don't want to hear that because of Logan Paul, but I just think, he's an incredible talent. He's athletic. He kind of gets it in many ways. There's still a lot for him to learn. There's still a lot for him to kind of improve on. But generally speaking, when he comes in, he does the job. And I'm excited to see what he does with AJ Styles. Christopher says, won't matter who wins, they are going to lose the women's tag team titles. Choose NXT anyway. You're really excited about this NXT thing, I can see, Christopher. Jade is in the house as well. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're doing well. Let me know what you're thinking about WrestleMania. Again, you're joining us for the weekend kickoff stream. We are going to be back very soon, actually, for the kickoff watch along. So this is our kickoff stream for the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. We're also going to do a watch along experience for WWE's kickoff show, which is, if you're watching live, just over an hour away. And then on Saturday night, we'll have a live build-up show. Of course, on Sunday, we'll follow it up with another one there as well. And then an instant reaction review to everything that's gone down at WrestleMania. Getting a lot of comments here from Christopher about NXT, so we can't forget about that. We're going to be covering Stand and Deliver in depth with a watch-along and instant reaction review as well. So if you haven't already, subscribe. A lot of content for you from the Rebellious Noise channel over this weekend. Christopher says, what happened? Bailey and Lyra Valkyria win. I'll be right. And Stack says, Styles versus Logan will be a brilliant match regardless. Logan Paul has it all. Styles has nothing to win here. It won't do anything for Styles. Paul wins this one unless they want a quick crowd pop. That's exactly it, mate. I think you've hit the kind of nail on the head. I mean, a few times I've said about how, you know, the difficulty with these big shows is that babyface and heel wins kind of flip-flop, and you need to be careful what you present. Where you can just kind of do throwaway things, I think you're just going to have to. I don't think people are going to be massively coming away from WrestleMania going, oh, I can't believe Logan Paul won. Or, oh, wow, I'm so glad AJ Styles won. So the most important thing is protecting the future, right? And I think out of the two of them, let's be honest, Logan Paul is the future, right? So as much as I love AJ Styles, as much as I'm excited to see what they can do together, there is no point making AJ win, because what does it do for him? Like, what? He kind of looks good and then is therefore credible to go for the world title. Even if he does do that, I mean, this time last year, Backlash, he did do that. He just popped into the slot anyway, so he doesn't need to win anything to kind of get into that position. So yeah, for me, doesn't need to happen. It probably will be Logan Paul winning the match between the two of them. Let's get on to the Women's World Championship, a triple threat match that of course has been kind of weirdly built, let's be honest. I mean, you had Rhea, the world champion. She lost the title randomly, it felt, to Io Sky. But the day before that, Bianca Belair won the opportunity to go to WrestleMania to fight for this title. Io won it. It felt like, okay, that was a shock. Because I remember saying on the Elimination Chamber instant reaction review, look, I don't know why Bianca's won it. I didn't really like it. But if you said to me at any other time, Rhea, Bianca, WrestleMania, I'd go, yeah, of course, that makes a lot of sense. It's a marquee match. Like, it makes so much sense. So I was like, yeah, Io's not winning. And then she won the world title. And then they've squeezed they've squeezed Rhea back into it. I like what they've done and how they've done it. And I genuinely think it's all about letting Bianca slowly turn into a heel, but by distracting us. Because I think if it was one-on-one with her and Rhea, she couldn't really do some of the things she's been doing and get away with it. Like, she's justified at the moment. Yeah, like, she won the chamber. She deserves to be there. Rhea squeezed her way back into it, and she should be annoyed about that. But if it's a one-on-one match between her and Rhea, they couldn't tell that same story. And I think it would make people quickly start going, oh, Bianca's been a bit mean here to Rhea, who we also like because she's the babyface. So I think that's why they've done it. I think they've done a triple threat because they're leaning towards that. And again, I think it all plays into the the Jade Cargill situation as well. Josh Moon says AJ losing another WrestleMania match isn't the play. Yeah, I know, man. I know. Look, he's not had the best WrestleMania kind of win-loss record, or even just record. He's not had the best matches at WrestleMania. I always think back to the Shinsuke and Nakamura one, which is such a disappointment. But then at the same time, you balance that with the Boneyard match, which, as weird as that was in the period we were kind of all experienced, it was amazing and technically Undertaker's last match. So, yeah, AJ's kind of hit and miss when it comes to WrestleMania. Christopher says Logan Paul wins, and Stacks says people love to hate Logan Paul, but he hits the big moves. He's not awkward or clunky. He's smooth as butter. And the live crowd love his in-ring performance. Just love to hate the man. Yeah, I agree, man. I think he's very entertaining. And I honestly think for someone that's not like, let's be honest, he likes WWE, right? He's one of those that grew up liking it, but maybe not loving it like a lot of us do, on this stream, on this channel, and whatever else. Like if Logan weren't who he is, I don't think he'd be tuning into the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel to find out, what we all think about it. Don't get me wrong, but I appreciate all you guys that have done that. But at the same time, I think he likes it enough that he's willing to be open and learn. And I've seen a lot of his interviews with wrestlers and with other people on his podcast where he's come across quite respectful and appreciative of what's kind of gone before him as well. So I think he's a great. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. But thanks for staying with me for those few seconds. The computer just refreshed and we jumped out of it. But we're back. Appreciate you for sticking around. Right, let's move on. Let's go back to the match we were talking about originally anyway. Let's go on to the Women's World Title Triple Threat match. I think this is going to be an interesting one because it is hard to pick. Look, in my opinion, at the moment, I see Io Sky winning it. If you said Rhea won it, I wouldn't be shocked. If you said Bianca won it, I wouldn't be shocked. If you said Bianca won it and still went to SummerSlam to face Jade as a heel, but with the title, I wouldn't be shocked. So there are so many scenarios here. I think the big one is that Io has been kind of brushed aside throughout the entire feud. So for her to win would mean a lot. But it depends what this match is for. And as Josh says here, could we see a Bianca heel turn? Yeah, I think Bianca's a heel already. I think she's acting like a heel. She's justified, but many heels are justified in what they say, So I think Bianca, look, again, we've got a prediction video out there already, guys. When we finish the stream, you got to promise you're going to go watch it, all right? I want you to watch this. I don't want to give too many spoilers for the videos we've already put out there, but I can't continue this conversation without explaining it further. Look, I think Bianca Belair is part of the Jade Cargill situation. I think she is in on it, and it's going to be revealed. And I do think there's a chance that on night 2, Jade Cargill will come out and cost Bianca because she knows something we don't know, which will be revealed at the time, just like it was at Elimination Chamber, that Naomi had done it because Jade came in and battered her. We might get the same sort of situation. Now, that one was so cool. It was so well executed. It kind of makes me think, we won't get her twice. Like, they can't do that again. But maybe they will. But generally speaking, I think Bianca is involved, and I think she's slowly turning heel anyway. Christopher says, I do see Bianca winning as well. Got Bianca winning. And Stack says, I compare Logan and Dominic, except Logan is better all around. Dominic has nuclear heat, but that's dying down a bit. I think Logan's heel heat even runs deeper than Dominic. He creates a lot of live buzz. Yeah, I think it's interesting because they are similar, but also very different at the same time, like you say. I think Logan is kind of more flashy in the ring, even though Dominic is the son of, the master of the 619 and pretty good himself. I don't think he needs to do it. I think he really works on character. Whereas Logan does the inside the ring stuff and then depends on character in a different way. And he's not liked in a different way. I do think Dominic's heel heat has been massive. It's been incredible the way they've used it. It's kind of died recently, and which is why I do think on night 1 he should be winning the title. I think it'll be given be giving him a nice little rub there as well. Eddie's back in the house as well. Good to see you, mate. Appreciate everyone that's joining us again, whether live or on demand. You are watching the Weekend Kickoff show from the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. If you haven't already, please subscribe. We are trying this week, guys, to get to 1,000 subscribers. I'm not sure how close we are now. We were getting pretty close. We were about 10 away, I think, before I started this stream. So maybe I gave our, put our kind of target a little bit low there. Maybe we should try for maybe not 2,000, but 1,020. I don't know. Let's try and get there, guys. If you haven't already, please subscribe. We would appreciate it. If you're new here, I'm Scott from the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. What we do here is kind of get you in the mood for the PLEs on the weekend preview. On the night of the PLE, we also hit you with a build-up show. Of course, with WrestleMania, we've got 2 build-up shows, one for Saturday, one for Sunday. We'll hit you with an instant reaction review, and we've got plenty more content surrounding WrestleMania itself as well, with a Slammies watch-along and some NXT coverage as well. So make sure you tune in to those shows. Now, in the past, we've also had the privilege to interview WWE superstars such as Finn Balor, and we've also had great conversations with the likes of Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley. So again, check it out in the archives already, if you haven't already, excuse me. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Let's break down some more of these comments. We got Sax saying, I personally would rather Rhea not in this match. She would have tried everything to get in, but not have been added in a match. I'd rather Rhea done a run in and cause havoc. Yeah, no, I get that. I do get that, because do you remember when she lost the title and she did that backstage promo? It weren't on Raw, but they did like an online exclusive, and she was just like so disappointed in herself, and she gave all these examples how she trusted people like Dom and Liv, and she shouldn't have, and whatever else. And I thought, man, she's gonna claw her way back into it, and she did, but like in a kind of cocky way. Like, it was more about Bianca for me. So again, that's why I think the Bianca thing is the story here to tell. Josh says, to be fair, to Logan, his social media presence has helped elevate WWE to where it is today. Yeah, I mean, that's why I think he's going to win, because what's the benefit in letting AJ Styles win? As much as I love him, like, if you get a headline, Logan Paul wins at WrestleMania, take it. You kind of got to take it. Mac007 says, which match are you most excited for? Roman Punk, Rollins, or Cena versus Cody? Or when you break it down out of the 2 main events. Oh, it's tough. It's tough. That's a great question, mate. Look, I'll break it down to what I think is going to happen in both. We're going to get to Cena and Cody and break that down a little bit further in a bit. But I think on night 1, the story is going to be Heyman turning and joining Seth. So I think that's going to be massive. And night 2, I genuinely think Cena's not going to do it. So it might feel underwhelming in some way. So I think maybe I'm looking forward to the revelation in night 1 more. So yeah, maybe I'm looking forward to night 1 more, which is crazy, because we've already debated how that maybe that shouldn't be a main event because it's not a world title match. But yeah, great comment, and yeah, appreciate that. Aiden says, forgot to ask you, are you staying live throughout the WWE show tonight? We'll be back, yeah, for the kickoff show itself. We will do a watch along for that as well. So we're going to be dipping out of here very soon. And yeah, if you are watching live, don't you worry. The stream will go up very soon. We'll also do a watch along for WWE's kickoff show itself. So subscribe, keep an eye on that. We're going to be back in about 40 minutes from this point. We will be back for that one as well. So thanks for reminding me there. Stax has got Bianca. Aiden says Rhea deserves this match. Max says, is there any chance that Lesnar return at WrestleMania? Yeah, there was part of me that thought that on Raw because of the whole situation with Paul Heyman, but I think what's going on kind of behind the scenes, you know, if that's all to be believed, then they ain't going to want to go near him anytime soon. But any other time, I would think he is. You never know. Stack says, I bet if Rhea had been banned from WrestleMania, but made a run in and destroyed everything, that crowd going nuts. Imagine Rhea's pop instead of being able to get in on another freeway. Yeah, I think you're right, actually. I think you're right. But again, maybe it's because of something else. Maybe it's because of distracting us from Bianca fully turning heel. But yeah, I get that. Yeah, Rhea kind of causing havoc in the middle of the match would have been pretty cool. Matt also says, what would you rate WrestleMania 41 stage out of 10? Is it better 39 or not? I haven't seen the 41 stage yet, actually, so I'll have to keep an eye out for that. I'm going to be watching the kickoff show in a little bit, so yeah, we'll have more thoughts on that when I do get to see that. Stack says, on another note, I bet Bianca is down. Okay, we'll move on. We'll move on from that one there. Right, let's go again. We've seen the triple threat. Let's talk about the main event of night 2. John Cena versus Cody Rhodes. Again, I've touched on it briefly already. I think John Cena's losing this one. I think Cody Rhodes has to win it. I think for him to lose at WrestleMania and then the next year finally win at WrestleMania, for him to lose again at the next WrestleMania when we've had so many long title reigns, I think it's not a good look for Cody. So I think he should win it. And I think John Cena, I think there will be something to do with a Rock. I think Stone Cold Steve Austin's going to show up. And I think he'll probably level the playing field. I think he'll take out the Rock. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps, as The Rock would say, just thinking about it. And Cena will be kind of going away with his towel tucked between his legs. He might try and be kind of super heel over the next few months, but eventually I think Cena turns babyface and will win the world title again. He'll become 70-time world champion. But as a babyface, when he's convinced to do it the old school way, the way that he'd always done it and all that kind of stuff, he can't retire as a heel. And in my opinion, can't win. He can't break the record as a heel either. So we'll see where that goes. Aiden says, I was speaking to a couple of people outside Raw in London. We were saying that Cena won't win, then realized that the fans are part of who he is and turns face and wins the title. That's exactly what I was just saying. Thanks, Aiden. I didn't even see you comment there. Yeah, that's pretty much what I was saying. Yeah, SummerSlam could be where he does it. Stack says, 41 stage looks brilliant. Best stage I've had quite a few years in my opinion. Oh, wow. Okay. I'll have to look at that. I'll be jumping on that as soon as we head off air in just a moment. And again, I'll be back for the watch along for WWE's kickoff show. I love WWE's kickoff shows. I know some people think, like, what's the point? Does anything happen? But they're so weird. They're kind of not canon. Do you know what I mean? There's fun kind of interactions between Michael Cole and the rest of Triple H. They kind of go off script, so I really enjoy them. Looking forward to doing that tonight as well. Aiden thinks that Jey Uso will be picking up the victory. We'll have to see. WrestleMania Saturday has got a stacked card, and it might not be in the main event, but main event Jey Uso could be leaving with a World Championship. Right, so that is it, guys. This has been your weekend kickoff show from the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to be back, if you're watching live, in about 35 minutes. We're going to be back for the watch along for the kickoff show that WWE are doing. So please subscribe if you haven't already. Stick around for that. We're going to be breaking down everything that happens there, and we'll talk about whether or not it leads into WrestleMania itself. Again, some of these things they do on these shows aren't canon, but sometimes they do lead into things, and you do get a little bit of a hint as to kind of what might happen as far as prediction goes as well. Speaking of predictions, Aiden says he thinks 3 title changes will happen. Max says Rock and Stone Cold face off in night 2 main event. Yeah, I think that's got to happen, man. The glass shattering. Oh, can you imagine? Aiden says Jay, Rhea, and Dirty Dom picking up the titles. And Stack says, have a good one. Enjoy Mania. Thank you so much, Stacks, Aiden, Mac, everybody else that's joined us, Christopher, and everybody else in the chat. Again, appreciate you all so much. We're going to be back, though, guys. Don't run away too far. 35 minutes time. If you join us live at the moment, we're going to be back for the watch along show for the kickoff, but you've been watching the weekend kickoff show. We're also going to have a build-up show on night 1, a build-up show on night 2. We're going to cover the Slammies. We're going to have instant reaction reviews for WrestleMania. We're going to do Raw after WrestleMania, and of course Stand and Deliver. But I've been Scott. This has been the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. Please subscribe if you haven't already. See you later.
Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.